Praise the Lord. It's good to be with you on the program again tonight. We're going to pick up with Revelation where we left off last night on last night's program. In Revelation chapter 9, we have seen and we talked about last night how that things are shifting from purely natural events in Revelation chapter 6 and Revelation chapter 8. Now, all of a sudden, spiritual things are beginning to be manifested and involved in the tribulation period. There is a bottomless pit that the Bible speaks of, and an angel, it says a star, let me read it to you. It says, the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven into the earth, and to him was given the key to the bottomless pit. And he opened the bottomless pit. The word star in the Bible is a relative word. It's applied to many different things. Regular star bodies, it's used for pastors, it's used for angels. In this case, it's used for an angel, and you can see the personal pronoun that is used. This star fell from heaven, or this angel fell from heaven. As it says, the fifth angel, I saw an angel fall from heaven, and unto him was given the key to the bottomless pit. The bottomless pit, as I've already described, is the second region of the underworld. You have the grave, you have the bottomless pit, and you have the lake of fire. A simple understanding of that would eliminate all the foolishness of the teachings that there is no burning hell. That, as the Jehovah's Witness says, that the grave is hell. Well, the grave is a portion of hell. It's the first hell. The bottomless pit's the second hell, and the lake of fire is the third hell, and it's clearly explained in the Bible. So this angel looses now, turns loose, these beings that's in this bottomless pit. John, as I explained to you last night, is looking now at modern day warfare from a first century brain. The brain works the same now as it did then as it does now. John is seeing things he has absolutely no understanding of whatsoever. He's seeing airplanes. He's seeing helicopters. He's seeing modern day warfare. He's seeing big, huge tanks and guns firing with fire and issuing forth from what he says is their mouth. He has no idea what he's looking at. He's explaining the best he can explain. His brain goes back. Whenever you see something and you don't know what it is, the brain dips into the memory bank, pulls out the closest thing to that object. As I said last night, that's what the deal is with UFOs. When you see an unidentified flying object, that's why you call them saucers and plates. It looks like a flying plate. It looks like a flying saucer. The brain is telling you it's a plate, it's a saucer, because you have no idea what it is. John is now seeing modern day warfare from the first century. And as I told you last night, the Bible told us in the book of Daniel that there would be an increase of knowledge. And that's what's happening. The thing that best reveals and interprets Revelation for us is modern day technology. That's how we know the book and can understand it. This angel now opens this bottomless pit. When he does, now spiritual beings are coming out, which I left off last night's program with. These spiritual beings, these demons that's turned loose now, has been bound and confined there for many, many years, thousands of years. Each spirit is a personality. Whenever it comes out of a body, comes out, it seeks a human body to operate through. If the human body allows the demon spirit to occupy it and work through it, then this human being takes on the personality and the nature of the personality now of the spirit that has dominated it. Now, again, going over a little of last night, we have well documented psychopaths, serial killers, narcissists, all this stuff throughout the ages. And the reason being is if they're in China or if they're in America, the narcissist acts exactly the same way. The psychopath acts exactly the same way. That's how come they can say he's a psychopath there, he's a psychopath here. Because they act with exactly the same personality, the same manifestations. Whenever a demon spirit takes control of a human body, that body then manifests the personality of the spirit that is in control. Now, these demons that are about to be unleashed from the bottomless pit are demons that we've never dealt with, spirits that we've never dealt with. They are personalities that we have never dealt with. They're going to be unleashed on the world, a world now that is empty of the church, a world now that is in the hands of darkness, and there will be many bodies, especially world leaders, more than willing to receive these demons, which will then turn those human bodies and those human beings into creatures of which psychology and psychiatry, the fields of neurology, has never seen, nor do they even understand. The brutality these demons will be able to inflict upon mankind, working through man to do it. And God made it clear. Toward the end of the book of Revelation, as we'll see, He said that He will destroy them that destroy the earth. These demons working through these human beings, now with a nature that cannot be explained. What we're about to see is something very interesting. As this bottomless pit is open and the smoke comes out and it darkens the air and the sun and so forth and so on with the smoke of it, John tells us then that locusts come out of it. But understand, John never intends for us to believe that these are normal locusts. It's just the only thing his brain can call it, because it looks like locusts to him. And you're going to see why in just a few minutes. John saw modern day warfare. And one of the things he described as being that modern day warfare was he said he saw locusts come out. He then gives descriptions of their stings being in their tails. He gives the sound of their wings being as sounds of chariots. He says he sees the faces of men, but yet he sees something that appears to be the hair of a woman. He's describing what obviously are not locusts. However, it's the only thing that his brain can relate to. Now, let me read these passages of Scripture to you as he attempts to describe what his brain is telling him are locusts. And the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him, personal pronoun, was given a key to the bottomless pit. He opened the bottomless pit, and there rose smoke out of the pit, and the smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air was darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts. But remember, he does not intend that we believe that this is locust. Upon the earth, unto them was given power, as scorpions stinging. Of the earth have power. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of God in their foreheads. Now, the Bible is making it clear here. These locusts are not going to eat green grass, trees, so forth and so on. They're not going to hurt that, which is what locust, real true locust, lives on. It tells us then that it is commanded that they hurt men for 5 months, that they sting men with the sting of scorpions. And it commands them not to hurt those that had received the seal of God in their forehead. Now, as I told you, we skipped over Revelation chapter 7 because it deals with the sealing of the 144,000 who's going to preach the gospel throughout the tribulation period. Now, who is it that received the seal of God in their foreheads? That in this passage of Scripture we are being told that these beasts, these demons, these locusts as John's calling them, shall not hurt them that have received the seal of God. Well, it's talking about the 144,000 as plainly described in the Bible. In verse 2 of chapter 7, it says, And I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living God. And he cried with a loud voice to the 4 angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea, saying, Hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our God in their foreheads. And I heard the number of them which was sealed, and there was sealed 144,000 of all of the children of Israel, of the tribes of Israel. So as we look in Revelation 9, we're seeing that there's going to be destruction, devastation. There's fixing to be biological and chemical warfare unleashed upon mankind with these locusts, as John was calling them. But that there's a commandment given that you do not harm those who were sealed, the servants of God, sealed. It's talking about the 144,000. Then in verse 5 of chapter 9, it says, And to them was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented for 5 months. And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion when it striketh a man. In those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and desire to die, but death shall flee from them. So here's what's happening. We've seen in Revelation 6 through Revelation chapter 8, brutal destruction, the dropping of bombs, nuclear war. You must understand now the mindset that is behind all this. There is an attempt to create a one-world system, a one-world government, a one-world order. We're in the midst of that right now. It is the reason that the pure hatred of Donald Trump is so clearly manifested by these elite leaders of the world and America. It's because he's nationally trying to rebuild this country, and they wanted their world order because they are the children of Antichrist. And that's what the whole thing is. Nonetheless, in order to bring this about, there's been a long process of teaching and indoctrination in our schools and around the world and the media and all of this, to simply get us to surrender our freedoms, to do it piecemeal, here a little, there a little, where you lose so many of your freedoms and don't even know you lost them. They give you governmental subsidies or give you governmental welfare, and in exchange, we get some of your freedom. And the more they give, the more freedom. And so the freedom goes away from us, and we don't even realize or know that the freedom is gone. Then there is the indoctrination of worldism and world orders, that we simply surrender our sovereignty. So this is the work of the white horse of Revelation chapter 6, as I pointed out to you, who came forth into the world preaching peace, but going forth to conquer. There is going to be a resistance. Even though they have indoctrinated, even though they have tried to preach and teach us right into world order, there's going to be resistance. There's going to be war, and we're seeing it now. The first stages of it was the dropping of nuclear bombs here and there to frighten man into full compliance and full surrender. After they had destroyed a fourth of the earth, after they had destroyed then another third of what was left of that, obviously the thoughts and the minds of these demon-possessed world leaders is that if we don't stop dropping these bombs, there's not going to be a world for us to control. There's not going to be a world left or a man left. So you then see them stop the dropping of the bombs and the nuclear bombs, and they turn into a warfare that is designed not to kill. They are going to sting. They are going to burn men. But the design of it, the Bible tells us, is not to kill them, but to torment them for 5 months. You got to keep somebody to be your servants. It's still the process. It's still the attempt to force men to comply. Now they have resorted to chemical and biological weapons, designed, again, for 5 months, the Bible tells us, to torture men, and to do so with the stings of scorpions. Now, in the next verses that I'm going to read, John is fixing to explain to us, or describe for us, these locusts and these beasts that he is seeing. Watch this. It says in verse 7, "And the shapes of the locust were like unto horses, very large, prepared unto battle. And on their heads were, as it were, crowns like gold. And their faces was the faces of men. And they had hair as the hair of women. Their teeth was as the teeth of lions. They had breastplates as of breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as a sound of chariots of many horses, a great roaring sound, going to battle. And the tails like unto scorpions, and stings in their tails, places where they're unleashing poisonous gas. And their power was to hurt men for 5 months. And they had a king over them, which was the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in the Greek tongue it is Apollyon. One woe is past, behold, 2 woes more hereafter." Now, The description that he is giving us here is of metal, is of iron. He's giving us a description of something that he sees as locusts, but that are huge. The sounds of their wings, what's making them fly, is the sound of many thundering horses, the roaring of the engines. Now I want you to take a look at a few of these pictures. This is a modern day helicopter that is in use, even the painting of the teeth and the mouth on this helicopter. You see up top, it says the wings, sounds of many chariots. The crown of gold. Inside the front, John would see the faces of men. John would see the teeth of lions up under the belly of it. He would see the breastplate of iron. And in the tail, and in many cases where these biological and chemical weapons will be unleashed, the tail of a scorpion. He tells us that this is locust. Look at them. Imagine if you was in the first century and you saw this. What in the world would you call it? You would call it a locust. Look at that picture. And then look at this picture. This is why John's brain could only relate to a locust. John sees these creatures, which is nothing more than modern day armament. Modern day military aircraft. And then there's the men that will occupy the battlefields, dressed in biological and chemical suits. John sees by the thousands, men on battlefields looking like that. What does he call it? What does he call that? John adequately described chemical warfare and the machines involved in unleashing that chemical warfare as locusts. But again, to show you how clear the Bible is, in the description that John went on to give pertaining to the locusts that he saw, proves that he never intended for us to believe that they were natural little bugs, as he spoke of their iron and their breastplates, as their hair, the wings up above the head, giving the blurred motion that looked like fan hair, the faces of the men. He never intended that we believe that it be a mere locust, and went on to describe what he was seeing, and then seeing these pictures and these men dressed and arrayed in chemical suits by the thousands on a battlefield. He said they were locusts. Remember, this judgment is not to kill men. It's to sting them. It's to burn them. As these evil demons now completely ruling. And my God, you can see through these world leaders now. You can see through these American politicians that's on the left now. You can see the pure vile demons that's in them. The murdering spirits of them. The lies that flow from their mouths like water from a stream. These personalities. And these people will unleash this upon the world, knowing in their minds that it is best that the world do what we want them to do because we know best. Maxine Waters actually thinks she knows best for me. I'd be amazed if the woman could calculate 3 times 3. Anyway, we're living in a very dangerous world, a very cruel world to say the least. But when we hit chapter 9 of the book of Revelation, when we hit chapter 9, fairly yet early on into the tribulation period of 2,520 days, things are going to take a drastic turn for the worse, as God is pleading with mankind to change his ways, to turn from, to repent, But he won't, and he's not, because this is the kingdom of darkness. And we see the devil's children turn loose on us right now, hating Christianity, despising those who believe that Christ is the only way. As I showed you last night, the clip from Bernie Sanders attacking a Christian because of his Christian belief. All these things are mounting, and we can clearly see them now. He that hath eyes to see, let him see. He that hath ears to hear, let him hear. John is describing for us in detail biological and chemical weapons and chemical warfare, and I hope I've made that point. Verse 13 tells us then that the sixth angel is about to sound. And I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before God, saying, the sixth angel which was prepared to loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. And the four angels was loosed. It was prepared for an hour and a day and a month and a year for to slay again a third part of a man. So what we've got a fourth of the world destroyed, Revelation 6. We've got a third of what's left of that destroyed, Revelation chapter 8. Now we have another third of what's left of that destroyed in Revelation 9. Isaiah said that man would become as scarce as fine gold. The destruction is unbelievable. This is why Jesus said, this period of time will be trouble such as the world has never known, nor shall ever know again. Now, he's telling us here that there are four angels that's bound in the Euphrates River. There's a day, an hour, there's a time that they're going to be turned loose. When that happens, will be because the river dries up. A couple of things of importance is coming up there, but I also want to tell you this. There is a place, and we just saw that the angel of the bottomless pit was called Abaddon or Abaddon. There is a place that is called Abaddon, Iran. In Abaddon, Iran, there was a huge oil field explosion. In Abaddon. Here's a picture of the pit that is so deep, they refer to it as a bottomless pit. The Bible said that the angel was called, that was the angel of that pit, Abaddon. In Abaddon, Iran, there is a hole, a pit, not far from the Euphrates River. Is that possibly the launching place? Is that possibly the place? Because see, the demons that are in the Euphrates River, the demons that's in this pit, there is an Abaddon, Iran. Iran is a major player, a major world of demonic activity, as the entire Middle East is a world of demonic activity. The most unsettled, brutal place on the planet. Then the Euphrates River has four demons that have been bound in that river. God has chained them to that river, in the river. And what is going to turn these four demons loose will be the drying up of that river. Watch this. And the four angels were loosed, which were prepared for a day and an hour and a month and a year for to slay the third part of man. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000, and I heard the number of them. This is vitally important because John is saying that he is seeing an army of 200,000 men. That's 200 million. He is seeing an army of 200 million men. An army of 200 million strong was impossible in John's day. I don't know that there was even that many people in the world in John's day. Yet he sees a single army of 200 million people. China has proclaimed the exact number that they have 200 million men under arms. I'm looking at signs of rain beyond those distant trees. It ain't just sunshine,
any longer for you and me. There's a chill down my spine. Problem is it ain't winter time. I'm looking at signs, and the signs ain't looking good. I ain't no prophet of no kind, but a man that'd have to be blind not to see these signs. Your eyes are telling me things going on that I can't see, and your smiles, they don't seem to be saying what you really mean. There's something in the air, ever what it is has got me scared. I'm looking at signs, and the signs ain't looking good. I ain't no prophet of no kind, but a man that had to be blind not to see these signs. Signs, and the signs ain't looking good. I ain't no prophet of no kind, but a man that'd have to be blind not to see these